Okay, so here we are on the inside of the barn. As you can see, it's a mess. If you've watched the other videos, you know that the barn was built in the 1940s or so. I don't know how old this wood is. I imagine it was part of the original structure. And what I'm trying to do here is save parts that aren't warped and damaged from the water so that I can at least line parts of the new barn. Like the idea is as you walk into the new barn, at least in the foyer, to have it lined with the old barn wood. And this stuff is really in there. So I've got a couple crowbars. I've got one here. I've got one here. You can see these are cedar posts. And I'm just using a very simple framing hammer, like I guess a 16-ounce hammer, and just slowly trying to chip away without damaging it too much. You can see I've gotten some down here, some pretty serious nails, trying to save the gates. But, you know, part of it is I want to do my best to save what I can from here for nostalgia and, you know, sentimental purposes. But I've got my work cut out for me. I mean, I've got this here, and then on this side too. I think these are all salvageable, and they're about 1 inch thick, so I think they've got some value at least for cosmetic. But it's a good workout today. So this is where the loft was. And they've taken out a bunch of the wood already. And then this is the core that I was working on that I think, you know, has the best wood. You guys have done a lot already. Wow. It looks great. So this is the video where I was working, and you know, these planks are really protected from the weather, but yep, it's coming down. Saving all the wood for the new barn. Okay, so here's where the loft was. Excuse me, get out of the cat food. You're not a cat, buddy. You're not a cat. Okay, so here's after a couple days of clearing. It's a windy day and you can hear that roof blowing around. Here's Miss Baby checking everything out. So if you remember, there was a loft. Pretty much the loft is all taken down. These guys have done a really, really good job. And most of those walls, like in that video where I was kind of learning how difficult it was to remove wood, taking a lot of those pieces out. Some of these beams look pretty decent still. And then there's some really nice sideboards. So I think probably got another day or two, but I'm just really glad I decided to have a crew come in and save what they can. And you can see here all this, you know, the roof is in such disrepair. You can see all the rot up there from water that's leaked in. And here's just huge holes. And, you know, it's part of the reason why the barn is in rough shape. You know, if water gets in, obviously that's a problem. You know, this is where the loft was. Look at this. This barn is so big. So I was just texting with the builder, and you know, obviously one thing that you have to consider here is the safety of the men that are taking the wood out. And when I look at this, I said, wow, there's still quite a bit left. And he said, well, you know, that's true, but some of this is structural, and like you can't just have a crew come in and risk harm, which obviously makes sense. But look at the openness. Wow. Right, here's the stairs. Okay, and here's where the loft was. You can hear it's a windy day and this roof is blowing all over the place. But they've done a great job. I was just texting with the head of the crew and I said, well, there's still quite a few good beams left. And he said, yeah, but you know, you have to consider the safety of the men taking them out. And of course he's right. You know, like a lot of this stuff is even structural at this point, the beams. And the last thing you want to do is have someone, you know, take out some structural stuff and end up getting hurt. That would be really bad. So again, here's the loft part. You can see the roof is so shot. Here's the back side. The guy saved a lot of wood. So I hired a crew to come in and take all the good wood out. You know, I tried it and I'm like, I'm not doing this. So I had a crew come out. If you remember, this used to be a loft. This was a loft up here. It took them about a week, and they took a whole bunch of really good wood out that could be saved. It's gonna be used in the new barn. This barn was built in the 40s. Unfortunately, it wasn't salvageable. You can look at the roof up here, really rough shape, but they took a lot of good wood out so I can save some of the history, and this is scheduled to come down on Monday.